Hey everyone, we are continuing our series on identity today. So far, we have studied Genesis chapter 1 and talked about how the image of God is important to our identity. We looked at 1 Corinthians 12, verses 1 through 6, and saw the spiritual gifts that God gives to us as believers. This week, we're talking about God's mission for our lives. So, we're going to start off with a quote by Robert P. George, who says, "A true Christian is never a tame Christian." In other words, you can't be lazy if you want to take up Jesus' calling. It's not for the faint of heart. Every disciple is called to make an impact and follow Jesus' mission that he's called us to do. Followers of Jesus shouldn't be feeble or tame. Jesus is calling us to channel our lives toward a specific purpose with focus and with power. And so really the funny thing is that I talked about this topic, like God's mission, on Sunday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of that message that I preached on Sunday and add some specific steps for you guys to follow. And if you want to watch the full message on the Samaritan woman, it's available on the Parkway Place Baptist Church YouTube channel. So let's dive in John chapter 4, and we're just going to look at two verses 3 and 4. So if you have your Bible, turn to John chapter 4, verses 3 through 4. So these verses are talking about Jesus. So verse 3, it says, "He left Judea and departed again for Galilee, and he had to pass through Samaria." So if you're with your group, I want you to say that he had to pass through Samaria. We're going to dive into what that looks like in a little bit. But this is a small text, but it's loaded with meaning. It's like dynamite. So small, but strong. And I don't really want to toot my own horn, but some people say that I remind them of a stick of dynamite. No, you're all laughing at home. Probably so. Or wherever you are. Anyways, Jesus and his disciples are heading to Galilee, and what they do is they come to a crossroad. So to go one way would take them on the road most frequently traveled by Jewish people. This road was much longer, but provided the convenience of avoiding Samaria entirely. The other road went directly through enemy territory. Although the road through Samaria was significantly shorter, the cultural tensions between the Jews and the Samaritans were so high that the road all the way around was more appealing. So Jesus takes the second option, the way that was shorter in number of steps, but much longer when measured by the requirements of the traveler's heart. Did you guys notice that in verse 4, which we repeated it, that Jesus had to pass through Samaria? He had to pass through Samaria. His mission would not allow him to travel any other way. What Jesus does is he takes the more challenging way and invites us to come along. Jesus invites us to leave our comfort for the sake of his mission. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Jesus' mission in short is for us to make disciples who in turn go make other disciples. And I know for some of you that freaks you out. Even though most of you have grown up in church your whole lives, you've grown up around Bible stories, you've grown up around hearing messages your whole life, but it still freaks you out. Guys, you cannot continue to be sponges who just soak up the Sunday and Wednesday messages your whole lives. God calls you to grow up and to give back. Our mission as Christ followers is to broadcast the good news. Our mission is to share the story of Jesus Christ and what he's done for us. Could you do that if somebody asked you? Like if someone said, "Hey, Joseph, what has Christ done for you?" Would you be able to share? If someone said, "Hey, Matthew, what is God teaching you about himself this week?" Would you be able to share? Or is Jesus just something that you put on the back burner? Is it something that you do tonight and then act the way you want the rest of the week. When we love, we love to choose comfort over God's mission. We love to make up our own mission that focuses on us rather than live for God and his mission and purpose. When we live for ourselves, we compromise God's mission for us. So here's 3 ways that you guys tend to do that. And you tend to do it through what you say, through the sins that you love, and by focusing on yourselves. And the thing is, some of you can't control your mouths. You cuss, you degrade others, you tear people down, you complain, you choose to dishonor God and others and compromise the mission that he's given you with your mouths rather than use it for the building up of others in God's kingdom. So some of you, the second way is that you love your secret sin. You love that sin that nobody knows about or just your close friends know about. You love that your parents, your pastor, your small group leader doesn't know that you look at porn, that you lie to everybody around you, that you drink on the weekends, or that you smoke, or that you send nude photos to other people, or that you're having sex with the person that you're dating. You love your secret sin. And some of you love your secret sin so much more than your love of God's mission. And the third thing is, some of you are so full of yourselves and so focused on what you want that you can't even imagine living out God's mission, or even any mission that's not focused on you and what you want. You're so obsessed with your bodies, who you are and who others think you should be, that you are blinded to God's greater mission and purpose in your life. Guys, God calls you to live out his mission. You cannot ignore it. As a Christ follower, you cannot ignore the mission that God has given you. I want to give you 3 ways you can live this out. So pay close attention, because in your small groups, I want you to discuss which one of these 3 actions that you need to focus on. So the first thing is, you can pray for a vision. You probably have picked up on what you're good at or what you love to do, the things that you would spend all your time doing if you could. You also know some of the things that you're burdened for, that bother you, that are, whether it's good or bad, or the things that really break your heart. So spend some time, even if it's just 5 minutes a day for the next week, praying that God would show you his vision and direction for how you can put your passions, your skills, the burdens that you have, and live out his mission. Because God has designed each one of you uniquely. Each one of you with your own passions, own skills, own burdens. What has God given you that you need to pray for and have God show you how to use? So pray that he will help you understand how to reach the lost people. So first thing, you can pray for a vision. The second thing you can do is you can befriend somebody who doesn't know Christ. One of the easiest ways to carry out Christ's mission is to be friends with people who don't know Christ. Jesus spent a lot of time with sinners, which that includes me and you. So people who were broken or deemed unworthy by society. Jesus was a friend of sinners. And it says that in Luke 7:34, because these were the people that he wanted to reach and who needed him. Being friends with someone who doesn't know Christ, you'll have opportunity to share the love and truth of Christ. Ask God to help you love on them no matter what happens. So you can pray for a vision. You can befriend somebody who doesn't know Christ. And the last thing you can do is you can connect with others. So you've heard Alan say we're better together. We are so better together. Do not do Christ's mission alone, because you can't carry out Christ's mission alone. We're not meant to do that by ourselves. We need each other. That's why God set up the church. He wants us to be connected to the church so that we can be a part of a larger group to reach people who don't know Christ. When we do mission with others, we don't have to carry our burdens, the things we struggle with, by ourselves. And we also don't have to rely on our own strength, because there's strength in numbers. So, guys, you can do one of those three things: pray, befriend somebody who doesn't know Christ, connect with others so you can help live out God's mission, because you don't have to do that alone. And what you're going to do is you're going to discuss this further in your small groups. I want you to start off with these questions, though. Here's 4 questions I want you to discuss in your small groups before you begin. So the first thing is, what is the best part of your week, and what's the worst part of your week? An easy way to start off. Second question, what's God's mission? What did we just talk about? What's God's mission? Third thing, how do you tend to live for yourself over God's mission? So we mentioned 3 of those things. Talked about how our mouths get us in trouble. We talked about how just your identity and who you think you should be gets you in trouble, and your secret sin gets you in trouble. So which one of those 3 things usually do you do or compromise, or how do you live for yourself over God's mission? And then what's one action step you can take to live out God's mission this week? So one of the 3 things that we mentioned at the end: connect with others, make a new friend who's not a Christian, and pray for vision. So guys, and really quick before I end, the reason that today might have seemed like I was a little too much or a little harsh, I am that way because I know that you guys can be so much more. I know that you can be a mighty force for the gospel, not because of who you are, not because who I am, but because of the God we serve. We serve such an amazing God, and I don't want you to miss out on his amazing mission that he has for you. So let's see God do some amazing things. Let's see him work in ways that he hasn't done in the past for us. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good small group.